Okay, this video is about the Sharik Soul story. Now, I ran into this shit like maybe 2 years ago on TikTok. Now, how she got in contact with me is she was basically disguising herself as a white woman. So she's used the avatar as a white woman, but her story is real deeper that goes beyond me. But how I ran into this woman was 2 years ago on my first TikTok channel when I found out who she was, and she was trying to do like we always say that these divestors and swirlers try to do, the reach back. They always try to do the reach back. And when they get rejected, they even start hating black men more. When black men reject ex-divestors, they start to really hate us more. So a lot of that is out of a lot of these black women that divest, try to come back into the black community, and they get shot down by black men who know their history. So she was one of those individuals that I knew her history. Now, maybe due to the fact that we like the same kind of music, she was kind of drawn to me because, I like heavy metal. I like all types of music. I don't discriminate when it comes to music. If I like music, But, however, she was drawn to me. But anyway, just going back to elaborate on her story, Sharik Soul was a young lady that was adopted, by a white woman and a black man. And as a child, she grew up saying that this man that was her adopted father sexually, touched her in certain ways. If that's the case, because I don't hate the woman, but if that's the case, if she was touched by this man, he should have his fucking brain stomped out. Because that's one thing. Damn, I got some stuff up on my. Anyway, that's the shit that I don't tolerate, is any kind of abuse of any children. So if he did that to Sharik Soul when she was a little child, that actually explains a lot of her, the way she feel. And on that note, if that's the case, hey, I'm sorry for her on that one. That motherfucker need to have his head stumped out, his brain stumped out, if that's the case. But we don't know, so I'm not gonna say on that, if that's what happened to that sister, may God have mercy on that motherfucker soul who did that shit to her when she was a child. That explains the direction that she went after that. So, in a way, if that was the case, that's self-explanatory why she is the way she is. But that's not what it is. See, Sharik Soul always been a chick that I can tell that when you have a lot of dark-skinned women like her growing up in middle school and high school, that she pretty much wasn't picked by a lot of the guys, especially those, probably the black men that were in high school that dated either white men or light-skinned or Hispanic women. But she grew up in Iowa. So, you didn't have in Iowa, you don't got that many motherfucking black people in Iowa like that. So if you do have black people in Iowa, they probably be biracial, or 9 times out of 10, they come from an immigrant black family. If you have some FBA black people up there, they probably live mostly in Davenport, or what you call Des Moines, or Cedar Rapids. I know that area a lot because I be up there a lot, and coming out of Chicago and shit. But you don't have a lot of black people there in that state. So me understanding the dynamic of that, when you do have black dudes that in our 9 times out of 10, I ain't gonna even lie, them niggas gonna go to anything that's not black. I'm just be honest with you. Them niggas do. Cause every time I went up there through Iowa, I always seen a nigga with a white chick. But I ain't knocking that. But I never seen a black, either I seen a black dude with a white chick, or most likely I see white dudes with white chicks. Even a biracial chick said she have a hard time trying to get with even white guys up there, due to the fact the white guys are into blonde hair, blue-eyed Becky. So, like I said, this is even where you biracial living in a Muslim society like that, you ain't gonna get picked. You're not gonna get picked a lot, even if you biracial by white men, because white women, blonde hair, blue-eyed white women are the standard of beauty. You know, and you gotta be real, they white. That's why when black women get mad at white men for leaving them and getting with a white woman, they be upset. I'm like, he's a white man. She's a white woman. What make you think that man is not going to be attracted to his women that he's the part of? Just because you black women have a preference for Brad, that don't mean Brad got to have a preference for you. See what I'm saying? Y'all black women think, well, I got a preference for white men, so they should have a preference for me. No, they do not. That's your fault that you got a preference for a group of men that don't see you as the beauty standard. They don't see black women as the beauty standard. So even this biracial chick said that most of the white guys that did come to her, they were the bottom shelf, basically the bottom shelf, lower bottom shelf brand. And she basically didn't want to pick them because they were bottom shelf brands. She said it wasn't until she moved to Atlanta and started seeing how she was being validated and put on a pedestal in the black community due to the colorism in the black community and her looking exotic, that she was put on a pedestal. I said, yeah, normally that happens like that, where if you move to an area and you're a biracial or ambiguous looking black chick, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna put you on a pedestal. This is why I tell a lot of black women that really y'all really fucking up when y'all get out here and get with Brad and have biracial children, preferably girls, because all you doing is creating competition for black women to find black men, when y'all know the black community suffers from colorism, and they gonna take your biracial daughter if she look attractive, and they gonna put her up as the standard of beauty and not black women. So that being said, Sharik Soul was one of those dark-skinned women that had a low self-esteem about herself. Now, me personally, I always thought that she was an attractive woman, and when I seen her picture, I'm like, damn, man, that's fucked up that a woman that looked like her, that attractive, sound that goddamn vindictive and poisonous. Because I actually thought she was attractive, even before she got the plastic surgery. I always thought Sharik Soul was an attractive woman, you know, but the direction she went, I'm like, damn, when she did adult industry movies and shit, got ran through by Mr. Marcus, Wesley Pipes, and all them. And then after she did the ghetto gaggers and shit, then she had a child by white supremacy. She disappeared after all this shit and came back a new ass black woman and wrote a book on I guess why she divested and shit. And now she's an alt-right supporter of Donald Trump in the alt-right and white supremacy. She technically a black supremacist, a white supremacist in blackface. So, I mean, if you look at the direction of this woman, you look at her childhood, you know, I had to look back, cause you know I didn't used to like the chick. I never hated her, but I used to like the chick. But now I understand her psychology and why she's messed up like that. So I had to, you know, look deep down in my heart to say, you know what, this chick been through some shit, and I feel sorry for the girl. I feel sorry for her, man. At one time I used to think that she would call her a little bed wench and stuff like that, but now that I look up her psychological background, hey, I feel sorry for the chick. I don't feel no animosity or anger towards her, because now I understand her psychological makeup, and the only thing I can tell her, she need help. She need to get some psychological help. Now, as far as on her following Trump, that's political. We ain't gonna get into all that. But her animosity towards black men, I understand it now, even though it's unwarranted. And basically, I could tell her, you can't throw every black man in the same category, Sharik Soul. You can't throw every black man in that same category. You can't. Because if that's the case, then I said, you know, if that's the case, you wouldn't have to do the reach back. You wouldn't have tried to do the reach back. And guys turned you down. The reason why the black men that you thought were eligible turned you down is because of the shit you were saying about black men. And a lot of us are not them type of niggas. Like you said, had made a whole video talking about we come with jailhouse prison talk. I never been in prison in my life. Far as I know, I was an upstanding citizen. I served this country. You know, I served this country, and I did what every American's supposed to do. So I don't know why you put me in the same category with these type of black men that you talk about. I'm not in that category, and there's a lot of brothers that are not in that category. And see, I was gonna bash you and shit. It's easy to straight bash you, but then I had to get a level of understanding, a level-headedness, of understanding to think about where you came from and what your situation. Because I could have just said, man, that bitch a bad wench and this and that and that and that. I could have went that direction, and I have, but I thought about it. I said, wait a minute, man, just looking at this chick's story, I feel sorry for her. You know, so you know what, as a black man, just because a lot of these black women say shit and do shit, even like them bitches was on that panel talking about that hate black men, I said the best way how we can destroy them with that kind of mindset is not fuck with them, not mess with them, not avoid them. Avoid women like that. Just avoid them. Because we already know they're going to come back. They're going to try to do the reach back. And we don't have to say nothing bad, but we don't have to say nothing to them at all. But Sharik Soul, I'm going to tell you like this, sister. Hey, whatever you went through, that's fucked up. But, hey, you can't put all us in the same category, my sister. You can't do that. I'm just letting you know you can't do that. We are not, a lot of us are not like that. I'm not like that. I've never been in prison. You know, and I ain't knocking people because you have brothers wrongfully in prison for shit all the time. You have brothers getting exonerated from shit that they didn't do. That's why I said Charlie Kirk and this 1350 shit is bullshit. Because you get black men exonerated all the time for shit they haven't done. That they've been in jail, prison for years for shit they haven't done. You know, you got white men that don't go to jail for none of the shit they do. Hell, they kill shit. I'm telling you, if it wasn't no cameras recorded that dude that killed Sade Robinson, he would have got away with it. They wouldn't be trying to look for her because white society do not put a value on black people in general, that including black women. They don't care how much you niggas try to buck dance and bootlick for white folk, men and women. These folks don't give a fuck about you. You still at the end of the day, they don't have a value for you. I don't give a fuck how much damn near buck dancing and cooning y'all do, or try to be good, well-behaved niggas and be like on some Brandon Tatum shit, kissing ass and shit, and then you got Nick Fuentes basically motherfucking roasting him, Candace Owens, Jason Fatlock, roasting all these are black conservatives that he roasting the fuck out of, saying that they don't need them, and they right. White supremacy say, hey, we done with y'all grift, because white supremacy knew they was making a grift out of it. Hell, even when Angry Man tried to go that direction, look at him now. Now he got to scramble back to the black community, because by him up there kissing the white nationals, Charlie Kirk ass, he had the black people he started losing black support. And see, he didn't get the white support that he thought he was going to get. So he had to go back and try to do the basically the reach back. And a lot of these Negroes to try to do their grifts, you can't do it now, because now in the era of Donald Duck Trump, now these motherfuckers say what they want to say, and they don't need y'all to be their mouthpiece. They don't need you, Sharik Soul. They don't need you, Candace Owens. They don't need you, Jason Fatlock. They don't need you, Officer Brandon Tatum. They don't need the two twins, the two biracial twins, the nitwit twins. They don't need y'all no more. They don't need Jesse Lee Patterson. They don't need Thomas Sowell. They don't need none of y'all buck dancing, tap dancing ass cool niggas up there tap dancing for them. They don't need y'all no more. And I'm glad that Donald Trump is in. I'm glad the reason that he's in, and it's just for that reason that now the white supremacists are bold. They coming out bold, saying what they want to say. And now, like I've been saying all the time, that white people are not your friends, black man and black woman. They're not your friends. And now all y'all conservative Negroes are seeing now they're going to be throwing y'all up under the bus, because they told y'all, look, y'all some good niggas while y'all last. Now we don't need y'all niggas no more. What Jason Black and Professor Black Truth always say, when they no longer useful, white supremacy break their tools when they no longer need them. All y'all Negroes are getting broken because they no longer need y'all. And that's the reason why I'm glad that Donald Trump in, because now these white supremacists are coming out the woodwork, and I know where them motherfuckers at, and I keep telling y'all motherfuckers, ain't none of them your friend. The majority of white people are white supremacist minded. They can't help it. Even if they try to do the right, even your so-called liberals. The liberals are worse than your conservatives, because they are like white supremacists in cloak. They cloak like a Romulan Cleon ship. So, like I keep telling y'all Negroes, y'all have no friends. And just because you are in a relationship with a white man or a white woman, motherfucker, that don't mean you safe. Just to let y'all niggas know.